and I have a freaking audition tomorrow. So let's. I'm gonna try to save as much as I can, but let's just try to see. Try to be efficient with this. So basically, the issue that we talked about last night that you're having is your bubble usage is kind of sus. And it's kind of sus because your jump pathing is kind of sus. Like they play into each other, right? Obviously, if your jump pathing is weird, then you're gonna have problems with your bubble placement because then you're gonna be pressured to use it sooner than later or sooner than you want. So we're gonna really focus on just brainstorming a little bit about how you can be more creative with your jump pathing. This is gonna apply to Doomfist as well because you have this problem in Doomfist too, where you kind of just want to punch it from the front. You do things that are really good on Ryan and Horse and Ram because those are characters that are really good being playing up front. Doomfist and Monkey are not those characters. Same goes for Ball, right? You have to change your thought path a little bit more, especially a Monkey. So first of all, you don't want to be going here, pretty much ever. Just
Oh wait, are you
oh, sorry.
on Twitch?
I'll stream here too. Sorry. The Twitch is just for the recording. Okay. So yeah, you definitely want to go halls. Because yeah, you could always jump up, but if you go here, especially in ranked, you might bait your team into following you. Not a good idea. So just go halls. Um, yeah, just go halls and walk. Now, once you get to halls, right, in an ideal world, you don't really want to walk here, right? This is what you do on Ram and on a horse and on Reinhardt. But if you stick your face through a choke as Monkey, this is why we don't like playing Monkey on Sanctum. Walking through doors as Monkey is miserable because if you have to use your bubble to get through door, you're basically worthless after that. So what you do here is you walk here and you get to here and your team starts walking top and then you start walking this way. Right, so like you're keeping LOS. Like you don't want to just pop out here and stay in the open, but you come out here and you just keep LOS the whole time. You just walk under them, and you become a cave troll, right? You become the bridge troll. And what you're looking to do is you're looking to jump up, bubble off the back line, do some work before you lose all your armor. Drop. Next jump, right? Get a little bit of healing. Repeat. So the key thing is number one, right? You want to path in a way that doesn't involve face tanking the enemy front line. It doesn't really matter what they're, especially if they're running like a Reinhardt, you wouldn't go here. But even if it's a Monkey Mirror, you don't want to do that because just you're gonna lose so much HP walking this way. Find a path that you can walk that is not at the front line, so that you can right close distance and use either high ground or low ground to your advantage because and corners, all those things LOS the enemy, right? Just find a way to LOS the enemy, walk towards the enemy with LOS, so you save all your cooldowns. And then from here you can actually jump and put your bubble on top of the enemy, right? Because if you get your bubble forced here, which is what's been happening, then like you can't zap these people anymore, and it sucks. So anyway, uh, so like this jump, it's not horrible, but like now you're in a spot where like what are you gonna do? What you really need to be doing now is you need to be walking this way, and like now because the soldier committed jump, you can jump on her. Right, you can jump on her and bubble and do whatever the hell you want, but because you use jump early, it's kind of sus. So just try to walk at the enemy before you jump. Just pretend like you're Reinhardt and your jump is kind of like your pin, I guess. But you want to like Reinhardt, you that's not really correct because Reinhardt you want to pin at people, right? And you want to close distance with that. You don't really want to do that with jump because Reinhardt once he pins in, he can actually sustain his position with his shield. You can't do that on Monkey, so you want to be really careful when you choose to jump in. But like, yeah, this is exactly why we don't want to play here because you're like, wow, I can't do anything. That's because you need to walk here, right? You're under here, you're you're demanding attention because somebody's gonna have to like look for you, probably the tracer. You can fight the tracer while doing this, right? You can like walk this way, you can fight the tracer. Andrew, you're a little too far out. You should be closing distance already, fighting on point. But you just walk this way, you zap the tracer, you get healing, you get to here, and you jump. Right? You can also jump from here, but like jumping from here is going to like walk do okay, like option one, you do this, you're gonna take like 300 damage, right? You're facing and everything. Option two, you jump from here, you're gonna take maybe 150 damage because it's better because you're a little bit closer to the enemy. You're using LOS, and this is a shorter jump, right? You're not face tanking, but like this distance, any one of these distances is still like versus this, right? This extra distance here is like an extra 100 damage or 150 damage. Okay, and you really need to be preserving your HP more because what's happening a lot is because your pathing is funky. Like these are all interrelated. Your pathing is kind of funky, so you take way too much damage. So you have to drop bubble early, and then you leave and you can't do anything. And these are all things that are going to be fixed if you just fix the source, which is figure out your pathing. Okay.
Okay.
So like now you're kind of getting it. So that's a fine jump, because, well, it's fine. You didn't take any damage because they were already in the door. Um, and at this point, like you just bubble in this door and you just zone the backline. That's totally fine. Because what you're trying to do is you don't necessarily have to kill all these guys, but what you definitely need to do is you need to you're jockeying for high ground right now. Okay, if you bubble this and you zap and they run away, this monkey is cut off. He's going to get pressured out because he's going to be 3v1. And all you want to be able to do is be able to have your team walk out on high ground. That's it. Okay, with your next jump, or with your next bubble, really, you don't want to jump. You just want to drop and walk this way with your next bubble. So then now you're trying to box. Like you first deny high ground, now you're trying to deny halls and just walk at them and box them in. But like this is a good time to bubble, and you're not bubbling. I'm not really sure why. And now you bubble here, and this bubble is infinitely worse than bubbling right here. Okay, because this bubble gives you complete control of the door, and basically means the enemy has to back all the way down here around the corner. It makes this door unplayable for them. But if you bubble here, they can just stand here and spam you out. Right? It's like the little things where you really do have to be a lot more intentional about where you're intending to put the bubble, because the bubble is your assertion of space. It's like, this is the space I want to fight over. Do you really want to fight over the middle of the T here? It's like, it's not really important, right? Andre,
Uh huh.
right? Like the space that you care about is here. You don't care about this door because your team's already there. You don't care about any of this stuff. You care about this door. That's how you zone the squishies. So that bubble sucks. And now you feel like you can't do anything. And now you're in trouble. Anyway. Next jump. Let's see how we do this. Alright, so like again, I don't really know why we're out here, because this distance is like, would you rather cross this distance with a jump? Or would you rather just walk in this way, walk under them, and then jump like that? Or you can even jump from here. Like this, that's totally fine, I think. You're gonna take a little bit more damage, but you're gonna save a little bit of time. Like if you want to do this, I still say just take the extra second and a half and walk here and jump. Like, because if they want to shoot you from here, and then, like if they're here and they want to shoot you, the difference between making the soldier do this to shoot you versus that is like, it's actually kind of huge. And like it takes just a little bit extra concentration and effort to get damage on you that way, and it'll save you about 100, probably 100 health. Or a rail shot. If it's just a rail shot charge and you jump from here, you're gonna get shot in the face. You jump from here, you're gonna get shot in the face. Why? She's already looking at your team in the halls. You jump from here, she's probably not gonna rail you, and you're gonna be much more likely to block it with your bubble. Yeah, that bubble is just like, let's say, like, see, right? Like, you see the problem here now is, right? Because you jumped long, you have to bubble instantly. Otherwise, you're gonna take too much damage because they can see you the whole way in, and now they can just kite you. Okay, so path better, close distance, jump shorter, bubble closer. All these things take care of themselves. And then after that, after you've done all those things properly, then the next thing that you got to get in your head is you are allowed to use about a third of your HP pool. Okay, a lot of people have this issue. Peter had it too last year, where he plays down to about the last third of his HP pool, and you need to play like, once your armor is gone, you start losing HP way faster than usual, right? Like you start taking damage at a kind of an alarming rate. And what that does is it takes you out of the fight for way too long, because if you're living at, say, I don't know, 300 HP, it's really easy to heal you. Okay, you're gonna heal armor value, so you're gonna be getting healed almost faster than taking damage in some cases, and you can get back in the fight much easier. And you'd rather have that than use more than half of your HP pool and be done for like 5-10 seconds, and also force your flex support to hard pog at you, because that can get your squishy killed. So I'm seeing you overstay your welcome a little bit sometimes too, but I'm not as worried about that, because some of that is just because you feel like you have to do something, and the play that you set up is kind of goofed because these kinds of bubbles happen all the time, where you're jumping from a bad approach angle and it's forcing you to drop your bubble too early. Right, it's not the worst bubble in the world, but it could have been a lot better. And also because when you land here, you don't get landing damage. Landing damage is like 50 damage, right? Like landing and melee, that's the right click landing and melee, that's a lot of damage. Okay, that's the difference between killing a squishy and not. So you want, it's like that's another reason why you want to close distance. You want to make sure you're close enough to jump on these people and get the landing damage. Very nice. He's on the door. So the only thing is just sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. That jump was kind of weird. I think this is pretty decent aggression here. So we decide we want to play out because we have ults. If you're gonna do this, make sure you call this aggressively because in this case we basically need Finn to come out and ram an ult through this way. But okay, so we're just stalling a little bit, and that's okay. Would have preferred a little bit more follow up. Yeah, that's fine. This is just a little sketchy because you're fighting without bubble after the next fight. If your team's not going to be here, I think you should just leave. But we made it work. Is there any more weird bubbles here? Let me see. What is going on? Okay. So we're stalling here.
What's up?
So you're just scouting and poking, that's fine. As soon as you recognize they're going this way, okay, you need to meet them like right here. You just want to zap them as they're walking by you. You don't want to drop bubble here, but you want to zap them. Right? You want to zap them and you don't want to like just back up if you take too much damage. Because again, the bubble says I'm committing here, and this is space I need to deny the enemy. And the problem of like, well, you tell me, right? If they have 5 people here, and you drop a bubble, what do you think's gonna happen?
They can just back.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like you're not a Reinhardt. This is a 12-second cooldown with 600 something health. Right? They just they just chill here, blow the bubble up. You have to hide, and they just run high ground. You can't do anything about it. Okay, as opposed to when their monkey pokes his head out, right, and then you cut him off, or even like they run out here and you just like walk on their backline, you bubble this, right, and you fight them. Like you have to. It's all comes back to creating that dilemma and splitting the attention. If you're splitting attention with your resources on tank, you're doing it right. Okay, if you're just taking like 5 people's aggro in a way that your team can't follow up on because they can just hide and wait it out, that's not efficient. So we're just not reacting to this. Like you should be zapping this, but you shouldn't be bubbling, right? Just like zap, 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 hide, zap, 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 hide. Because you're always threatening, like you're threatening the commit, but you're not gonna do it until they commit.
You're falling apart.
Like this is the right idea, but because your jump got kind of screwed up, now your bubble's kind of screwed up, right? Like if he's gonna do this, you jump here and you cut him off. That's gonna be a better bubble. But you were a little bit late, and then you jumped in a weird spot. Alright, one more fight here, let's move on. So let's see how you take this. Yeah, it's a reasonable first move. We don't have any ults, so you have to do something. But again, this distance, you have to start really getting on top of shrieking, right? Because if you landed her, this is her HP, right? You're gonna take off another quarter, so it's like her HP is this now, and that's a big deal. And if you right click her when you land her, her HP is like this now, right? That's the big difference. And so you absolutely have to start prioritizing that because otherwise you're missing a lot of pick potential on the monkey. This is a habit that I don't like. Okay, Amon, you kind of goofed. You should 100% not be this deep. Like, if you want to poke this door, this is fine. Okay, but you should not be here. Because if you just poke this door, you have an escape route. If you're this deep, you cannot do anything. So that's a goof. But like this happens all the time, Andre, where you kind of just drop bubble instinctively because you're fighting people. And I mean you can kind of let's look at your POV, right? This is the habit that if you fix, you're gonna instantly get way more value. So right click, jump, miss, unlucky, like right, miss right click, miss landing, unlucky. Kiriko has no mobility, so it's just coming down.
You're safe with me.
Right? This is the issue. Right? People are running away from you. So so the bubble is not controlling space, right? If people are running away from you, the bubble is not actually cutting anybody off because they're just gonna go away. And you're not taking damage. They're walking away from you at full health. So it's like you don't want to wait until you're 300 HP to drop the bubble. So it's a situation where you got to read this a little bit better. Right? How much aggro am I actually taking? You're taking aggro from a solo Lucio. Like the Kiriko's running for her life. So like you kind of don't care about that, right? And because you know the fight's happening, like it's two things. First of all, you're not taking any damage. You're not taking enough damage to justify a bubble here. And this happens all the time, so you want to make sure you're not dropping a bubble necessarily. But also, if you just think about bubble more as space control again, and not like a 1v1 tool, a bubble right here is kind of a big deal because they're pretty committed in these halls, and this Kiriko has no mobility, right? You just walk in here and bubble. If you lose 100 HP for it, you're fine because now you have a bubble. You can just like chill here and get healed. Right? You can bubble dance down 100, 150 HP, you get healed. You have armor, you're chilling. But can you see the difference between like this bubble, which is actually kind of big, and just wait like 2 seconds, walk in here and bubble, versus bubbling here? Like this bubble does nothing, and we can't be wasting a 12-second cooldown repeatedly because that's gonna cause us problems. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that jump is just a feed, right? Like you can't jump at people with no bubble. They're just gonna kill you. They're just misplaying your cooldowns. Alright, all you have to do is walk in here. And not because your bubble's about to die, but you're still full health, so you can just stand. Like, I mean, yeah, you can just once this bomb goes off, you just stand here and you just zap people. You zap people until you can't, and by you can't, I mean you're at like, let's say, about now, right? 300 health is your hard stop. You just jump out. You jump here. You just chill. Right? You give your supports a chance, recover your cooldowns, and then go again.
Ready for battle.
Skip this.
Ready for battle.
Yeah, this one had a lot of problems. Let's have a look.
Ready for battle.
Usually not a bad idea just to set up high ground as your first move. So just like jump here to get scouting information. If you're not gonna do that, at least jump here. It's just a good, you know, there's nothing to lose from doing that. So you can see. Right? If you're standing here, the soldier is way more scary than if you're standing here. Right, this is the problem, and this happens because you're camping low ground. So look for more opportunities to set up on high ground and on slight off angles. Right, I don't mean like hard flank like this guy, but I mean like the difference between standing in front of the enemy team here and LOSing them on high ground. Like this lets you just drop on their soda for free. So it's actually pretty big. But yeah, you took too much damage there. And Andrew, you're overcommitted. This is, if you remember the poll from the other day, okay, you gotta look at what your team is doing. Your team's concave. Your team is area control is high ground and whatever the monkey's doing. So it's gonna be this side, and if monkey plays here, right, then like this is your concave, right, or this is your concave. Realistically, because their side of spawn is here, this is probably gonna be your concave. So you gotta play somewhere around here. Okay, which means like this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is probably not okay. Cause you're gonna get 5v1. Right, that happens. Gotta be a little more aware of what your team's doing. Anyway, still salvageable, but you gotta go make a play on your backline. Like
The
ASAP.
objective is now active.
Yeah, that's fine. Kinda surprised he didn't slide away. But like that's fine, right? Because it's like either you want to make sure that you're making plays that get value no matter what. Right? That's why I say just drop a mail on a point, because if the mail gets 0 people, you're still zoning point. That's fine. Right? You put a bubble here, you either fight the soldier or she slides away and she can't do anything, and this area is zoned off. Right? You're zoning 3 squishies. So that bubble gets value no matter what. Whether they slide away or not, whether they fight or not. That's why it's so good to think ahead and think about bubble for as a area control, and not as a dual tool, right? Like just for dueling people. That's a good bubble. And a lot of bubbles after this were less good. Like that bubble sucks. I don't know why this bubble is necessary. Can you can you tell me what you were feeling in this instant?
Barrier activated.
Yeah, you got poked in the ass by a tracer, right? But it's like whatever. I would rather you, in this case, I'd rather just like jump high ground or jump backline. Do one of those two things. Because if you jump backline and you bubble, that's a good bubble. If you jump high ground and you don't bubble, that's a good jump. Right? Because then you get like, okay, what's going on? Get healed, figure out what the tracer is, drop on her. But just bubbling this is like, she's getting a 12-second cooldown now for just primary firing it. That's not worth. Alright, it's bad trade. Just a little bit more discipline on your possible reactions. That was kind of weird. What's going on?
Barrier
That's fine. Alright, that bubble's fine. You're zoning basically 2 people. That bubble's fine. So I'm judging these based on how effective they are for space control. Because like, do they want to walk through the area where your bubble is? Yes, they do. Right? They want to either get to point or they want to help their team. That bubble's stopping them from doing that. So, bubble's fine. Yeah, so we want to be LOSing a little bit more.
I don't know why I never jumped to the top of the thing. I think I just forgot.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think you've been playing a lot of Reinhardt and Ram maybe, because I mean, if you're a Reinhardt or a Ram, you would stand here or a horse, right? But you can't trade HP like this on Monkey because you don't really have any way to block damage for you. Even on horse is kind of bad because you don't want to just. Well, horse has more cooldowns. Like if you blow a spin on horse, it's kind of whatever. It's like what, a 6-second cooldown. You'll get it back. You know, you blow bubble. It's like that's super bad. Right, the monkey's very heavily punished for sloppy positioning. Like, there's just no reason to do this, as opposed to just sitting here and waiting for the backline to do something. Like that jump's fine, because now you're zoning 2 people, and your team is committing. probably could have been a little bit better. Like let's get a little bit picky on this. For where you were, I guess it is what it is. Yeah, this is just this is too much. Yeah, that worked okay, but like I just want you to notice how long you kept the enemy in your LOS. Like I want you to play a monkey like a like you're playing like Dead by Daylight or something, right? Monkey is a horror character. Like you need to jump scare people. And when people can see you for this long, you're like, I'm actually surprised you didn't take more damage going in. You know, like you don't want to. The less you see the enemy as monkey, the better. Until like you don't want to see anybody. You don't want anybody to see you until you're on top of them, or until you commit on them. So for this, right, you could like, oh, there's a soldier in here, right? You could like go over here and then jump over the wall. That's option A. Option B is, well, option B is like you just drop here, you hug the wall, right, and you can jump better this way. This. Don't jump off ledges as monkey. In fact, don't jump off ledges ever. Okay, that's just giving you more airtime. More airtime is equal to more time getting shot in the face. Like, I'm being a little bit picky about this, but these are things that, especially on monkey, right? It costs you like 100 health, and that's the difference between a good dive and a shitty one. Right, just walk off the ledge, LOS. If you can't walk at her, even better. Okay, if you can walk to this point, and she's still here, and like you just zap her, and like that's better than jumping. Okay, and if you've walked to this point and you see that she's here, then you can jump on her. It's like totally fine. That kind of makes sense, or am I blabbing too much?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Just like shorten your LOSs. Same goes for do. Same goes for ball. Okay, because it's natural to want to see the enemy. Because like it feels like you're fighting them and doing stuff. But the less you see the enemy pre-fight, the better. Almost done. Get out. Right, even this is a little bit too greedy right here. Okay, because now like your team would rather be killing people with Kitsune instead of pocketing you. So it's like a good jump and then and you see how you waited just like a couple seconds because you're like, well, I'm not taking damage, right? Like you can wait a couple seconds and now this bubble is like way better just because you waited a second extra maybe. As opposed to letting her walk away from you and then like bubbling in place. And that comes with experience, right? Being able to tell, okay, am I about to take a whole bunch of damage, or am I going to be okay for like a little bit? It's really natural to panic bubble when you haven't done this a whole lot, and the more you play, the more of a sense you'll get. But it's basically like who's looking at you and who's shooting at you. Right? If people aren't looking at you, you're not taking damage. But if she turns at you and she has rail, it's like, okay, whoa, maybe I should bubble. Okay, and then if you're still taking too much damage going in, then you have to start looking at your pathing, because you don't want to be taking super long jumps. But yeah, let's look at this real quick.
You're safe.
Where'd their sojourn go? Okay, so you lost the sojourn. Yeah, you're getting cleave here. It's probably fine. Usually you want to track single targets more, because if you distribute your zap, which is not a whole lot of DPS over like 4 different people, if you switch targets all the time, it's actually pretty inefficient. You want to be able to burn one target down. But in this case, it's like, okay, well, you're gonna zap 4 people. You're trading one target for 4. You're trying to cleave for primal. I think that's okay. But right about like you should already be leaving right now, like right. The point I'm trying to make is you should be starting to leave for a couple of reasons. Bubble hits about 150, right? Time to just think about going, because the bubble needs to cover your ass on the way out. You don't want the bubble to break, and then as you're leaving, you're taking like 200 extra damage. That's what really screws over your next engage. Because if you leave as the bubble is breaking and you jump here, right, and you just chill, you're probably still above 300 HP, meaning you still have armor. Okay, you get healed very quickly, and you can drop and make another play without bubble, right, in about 2 seconds, because your jump comes up faster. Right? You want to be able to make another play while your jump is off cooldown, but while you don't have bubble, because that lets you get 2 plays in for 1 bubble cycle. You get bubble, make a play, jump out, heal, drop, zap, right? Demand attention. They turn their eyes at you, right? Like you create you demand that attention, and before you take more than about 200 damage, you leave again. Okay, and now for your next cycle, your bubble's up, and that way you're constantly doing something, right? You're constantly like you're trading what, like a extra second, half a second of aggression in here for the ability to make 2 or 3 more plays before your next bubble cycle. Right, because if you leave with 200 HP, you can't do anything. And this guy's a hard pocket you. You leave with 300 HP, 350 HP, like you just drop, make another play. Okay, and you want to make more plays. So it's like, oh, the monkey's here. Attention on monkey. Monkey's gone. Attention on someone else. Monkey's in. Attention on monkey. Monkey's gone. Attention. Like the more you whiplash their attention, right, the better. Like that's like the frequency effect. Okay, the signals for Doom and Ball. It's about frequency and not intensity. Something like a Reinhardt or like a Ram where you don't have the ability to go in and out. Yeah, it is more about like getting getting all your shit done up front. Okay, and like horse, but monkey and all the dive tanks, very, very different. You want to get just enough done and then quit while you're ahead. Does that make sense? So it's like the three biggest things, pathing. So, use LOS the enemy, pad to get closer, use high grounds and low grounds and corners so that enemy can't see you and so that you can't see the enemy. Because if you can't see the enemy, they probably can't see you, okay? Make sure you keep them in LOS until you're ready to go. You go, get that bubble placement in a spot that's going to get value no matter what, kind of like that Mayo or kind of like a horse ult, right? Like whether it hits people or not, it's zoning an important choke, an important intersection of LOSs. So bubble's good no matter what. Like make a play that you can't lose on. Okay, that's number 2. And then number 3, preserve your HP. Like those are the habits I'm seeing across all the maps. And if I had King's Row, I could show you all the times that happen too, where too often you're leaving with like 200 health. And then your flex support has to do nothing but pocket you for like 5 seconds. So that's expensive. Alright, like, Fid's not using the Kitsune because she's pocketing you. And this is and then this is not a good play. Okay, remember what I told you about Meteor Strike? Like you wouldn't make this play if you didn't have Primal, right? So yeah. Like use Primal to extend a good play, don't use it to bail out of a shitty one. Like this is not a good play. You're up a pick, you have point control, you just need to chill, recover your cooldowns, and go again. Okay, because like at this point you could probably win this without Primal, and the fact that you're just gonna offer it up for free by making kind of a feeding jump like this is just inefficient. Oh, you actually get away without using Primal, like you get Finn killed, right? Because you're like, oh my god, this guy's about to die. So I'm sure that's happened in rank before, and you go like, wow, my flex support sucks. And the thing is, you can make their lives a lot easier by taking less damage, right? Or just by quitting while you're ahead. At this point, you kind of have to Primal. Like, this is a one fight, and you lose it because you just don't Primal for some reason. But this mistake causes this mistake, which then, I don't know why you don't Primal at this point. That's just like kind of a weird cascade of problems. Let's look at one more retake. I think this is the first time. Like, I don't know what that jump is. Right? Like, what are you trying to get done with this jump? Like, this is the same thing as like a Doomfist or a Ball just slamming right here into front line, right? And like, and you do it on Doom sometimes. And it's like it's really bad every single time you do it because they just kite and they just shoot you in the face, and you've not really created. Like you created some space, they're looking at you. But Monkey is, again, not good at this, right? If you're a Reinhardt and you pin at them and you shield in their face, like, okay, yeah, that's all Reinhardt can do. But Monkey does not have the resources to do this, okay? Monkey needs to, well, you tell me. Where should your first jump go? Let's go back a couple seconds. This will be the last thing.
Quitting is not my...
Tracer's going left, okay? So... Coach yourself. Where should you jump? And from where?
I think I can jump top of this thing on point. and like walk behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you want to jump from here?
I mean, if I can jump like over the
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
but I don't know if you can.
no, you
Shit.
can. Right, just walk here. Right, like you don't even need it. You don't need to be here. Right, like you just bias left, walk here. You can definitely make this jump. Okay, because where are they looking? They're looking this way. So if you have an awareness of where their sight line is, right, just get it, jump out of their LOS. Okay, same would go for Doom, same would go for Ball. Like you have to. The thing about Monkey is, like these dive tanks, you have to be really hyper aware of where their LOS is, so that you can manipulate it. Okay, they're looking here. Do something to demand their attention this way. That's going to make a lot of space for your team. Okay, it's just very different from Ram, because if you're a Ram, you would just do this, right? More or less. Like you might go left, you might go top, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to you're gonna run at them when they must swarm and kill them, because that's what your kit's designed to do. That's what you're good at. Frontal pressure. Okay, Monkey is not good at that. Doom is not good at that. Ball's not good at that. Can't get those philosophies mixed up. Okay, this is dive tank is understand where the LOS is, and then so that you can abuse and manipulate it by forcing it to go somewhere else. Okay. Yeah, I think you hit this too, which is just like, it's just a bit of a goof. But even if you don't hit that, you're gonna land probably here, and they're just gonna run away from you, and that bubble's gonna suck. And now we're jumping at people like, okay, I guess you have primal, but. Probably it's just like that first play, the first play you made just didn't make enough space. And when you don't make enough space with bubble, when you don't make a big enough play with this bubble, that's 12 seconds where the enemy has a huge advantage over you. So this bubble has to get value every single time. Okay, it's not the worst bubble in the world. Like, yeah, it kind of zones out the choke, but you'd rather get it. Right? You'd rather jump top, drop on the enemy, and then you like bubble them off if you have to. Yeah. You don't even have to drop on us. Like you can just stand here and right-click people, right? I think you can even like left-click people from here. Like you just be like if on the previous point you were a troll under the bridge, this is like the opposite, right? You're being a troll, but you're just doing this, you're just being annoying, right? You're doing whatever you can to hold attention and to demand them to be like, oh my god, I have to keep on looking at this guy, right? This is really painful for this guy to keep doing, because it takes his focus off of what's going on up here, and this might let your Kree or your Kira go to get a pick. Okay, this is why demanding attention is so good. And like the inverse of that we're used to is if you're playing Orion, you pin in these guys a shield, right? And now you're demanding all their attention up front, and your team flanks, and your team gets the off angle. Okay, you have to participate in the off angles here because you don't have frontal pressure.
This ends now.
Oh, what is that bubble? One more. I don't know what happened here. We lost a couple people. One more retake. I think this is probably the last fight we get. Right, early bubble, and like you're getting the picture now, right? Like why the common theme is. And so straight jump in the open. So you're taking way too much damage. Well, like even if you didn't take that much damage going in, like you see everybody can like your jump path was here to here, and literally the entire time 5 people can shoot you. Okay, so we have to get rid of these long jumps. It gotta be short jumps, and play the jump scare game, right? Like you walk here, you poke the tracer a couple times. Again, you don't win against the tracer, so don't prolong a losing fight. You just like right click a couple times, you jump here instantly. Okay, it's like tracer's not my problem. I'm done. Because now you're saving that positioning for trying to pressure the backline. Okay, because this jump is a fight losing jump, and that bubble is a fight losing bubble. Because you're forced to bubble early because you took so much damage going in. And now you can't do anything with this. Right, like see how bad this is? Finn is not using his Kitsune because he's pocketing you. This is the second time it's happened on this point alone. And that's why the Kitsune isn't value.
狐のかぎ爪を解き放て
We're very lost right now. So now we're healed. We have full cooldowns. Find the soldier, right? Like, that jump's not gonna get anything done. Finding the Kiriko is fine, but you'd rather find the soldier right now.
Bombs taken.
Like you kind of just look kind of lost, but that's because your jump is right. Just you're just jumping weird spots. If when in doubt, go high ground, take a look at what's around you, and then drop. Because this jump again, we're talking about making plays that you can't lose on, right? Like put a bubble where you're gonna cut someone off, or you're gonna be able to fight someone. If you jump here, you know, like could you have made a better jump? Maybe, but if you don't know where people are, this jump you pretty much never lose on, right? Because you can be like, oh, where's the soldier? Okay, now I'm just gonna go walk at her now. Okay, I'm just gonna chill, right click this guy a little bit, and then jump on the soldier. That's gonna be better than just burning your jumps aimlessly around the bottom of the point. Okay, I think that's plenty of material for now. You got your priority list, right? If you practice today, I think Monkey's fine on pretty good on ladder. If you want to play an alt, that's fine. Just get the pathing cleaned up. Make sure that you're putting bubbles for area control in spots where you can't lose with them. You know, either you're dueling someone with them or you're cutting someone off. Don't drop in front of 5 people, but you're not doing that anyway, so I don't think that's a problem. You know not to do that. You know that the bubble has to split attention. It's not meant to face tank front line. But just make sure you're actually putting it in a spot where you can control area. And then play for that 300, right? That hard stop 300 HP. Like if you're leaving fights with less than 300, you're putting undue stress on your backline. And that's causing problems down the line. It's causing inefficiencies from them because now they have to heal you and hard pocket you, and then your DPS die for that, your supports die for that. Okay, pretty simple 1, 2, 3. Just get on it, and then we'll be in good shape.
Okay.
Okay, any questions?
No. Are we? Tomorrow is this match, right? We're not scrimming again before that.
Yeah, pretty sure it's just a match. Check with Amon. Had a pretty rough week, so I'm not really in tune with the scheduling, but yeah. Like I know it was kind of hard on you last night, man, but it's just I want to make sure we're making good use of everybody's time, and it's very difficult to coach when people's first instinct is to defend what they're doing. Like it's not just the U prom. Ian and Amon had this a lot when they were first joining the team, and thankfully most of that's been worked out and just wrung out of the team. But it's a pretty important skill to acquire that it's going to serve you in the long run. Right? Just being able to have that extra bit of introspection and being willing to consider the external feedback instead of trying to think yourself. Because I'm not judging you. Like I don't care. Right? I just want to make everybody better. Right? And the faster we can do that, the more efficient we can do it, the better. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. See you later.